Hi folks, it's Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates, and I am doing the live stream all by myself tonight. I normally use my iPad, but I thought I was going to have enough time to get home, and I had a little studio situation set up at home, but I didn't get a chance to. Hi Teresa. So I've taped my iPad to Karen's, I've taped my iPhone to Karen's iPad holder, which doesn't fit. Hi from Turkey. I can barely read your comments. I don't have a spotter. I don't have a microphone. So the term winging it, hey Annie, hi Arlene, is it Arlene? Hey there. So I haven't done a show in a couple of weeks. Of course, last week was July 4th, and the week before that Karen Henry Smith and Andy Holzman did the show. So where you might ask, well, where's my wife? My wife is back in South Carolina, and I am here. I needed to get to Indy to address some family matters. Thank you, Annie. I've been missed. So I've got some things going on with my daughter that I needed to address, plus the sales of our home the closing happens in 1 week, and I've got some painting and some things to do, so I found myself back in town a little sooner. I would much rather be where my wife is in our lovely new home. Hi, Mavis. How are you doing? It's been a while. How am I doing? I was really tired today, and I had a nice open stretch in the afternoon. I was getting myself a nap, and we had a storm, and it knocked out the internet. And I was doing some troubleshooting, so I only got an hour nap. So how am I? I'm a little bit groggy. Jackie, how's Renda? Renda's good. Renda has family in town, which is why she couldn't jump on an airplane and join me. So she's entertaining family. I'm addressing family matters. I don't know if my phone has enough charge to do an hour and a half. Hi, Vanessa. Ho, she says. So we are winging it like we'd never winged it before. Is the sound okay? Because normally I have this fancy microphone, but I just got my cell phone taped to an iPad holder. That's our technology for tonight. So anyway, I do have a couple of questions that people have sent in. Hey. I don't have a wingman tonight. Y'all are my wing people. I got wingman and wing women tonight. I don't got Mr. Pauly. I don't have Renda. Okay, so the sound is good. So that's cool. Awesome. So I'm going to start with a question. Hey, Lucia. Let's wing it. Hey, I do have a guest that y'all are going to think I'm silly, but I at a Christmas party one year, Steve Cooper got me this rubber chicken. I think maybe this rubber chicken, Jackie's sick tonight. This rubber chicken has appeared on the show before. Lucia says she's winging it every day. And this rubber chicken has inner child pain. Listen to this. I think I did bring this rubber chicken on the show before. I don't know why, but that just entertains the heck out of me. Not the chicken, but you guys have seen the chicken. The chicken is my only guest. And the chicken shares inner child pain. Isn't that a horrible sound? The dog just left the room. I'm chasing away the dog. Okay, question. I got a question from Ann. Hi, Mark. I recently used, I'm going to bring this a little closer here. I recently used I made a video about your power is in your feet. So if you want to have power, just step back, walk away. One of my favorite quotes, you guys have heard me quote this many times, truly powerful people, they don't need to explain their need for respect. They simply do not engage with people who do not give them respect. So Anne was, hi Sarah, I'm glad the videos have been helping you and have been life-changing. Hi Vanessa. So she's been using the power is in your feet, and when my spouse was being critical and somewhat mean, so she was going to step back and detach when the spouse is being critical and mean. However, when I returned, he acted like nothing was wrong. Sumit, what's up, dog? Hey, Elise. Elise, yes. I've got tape over where your name comes up, and I can barely read your name because I'm going high tech tonight, folks. I'm telling you what. So she asked, do I tell him that I'm taking a step back because he was nasty, or do I just resume life as usual until it happens again? So that's a really good question from Ann. Sorry I'm messing here. I just want to make sure I'm close enough. Hey, Kelly. Mark and friends. Well, the only friend I got is the chicken tonight. Should I get a chair for the chicken, perhaps? I'm just going to bring him on from time to time. Those are my only friends. So here's my advice to Ann. Yeah, if you're going to back up from somebody, put them on notice. Communicate to them, hey, you've done something to violate my trust. You've done something that's been hurtful, and I am going to. I did almost squeeze the chicken. Oh, y'all are my friends too. I didn't mean y'all weren't my friends. Y'all are my friends. I mean in the makeshift studio. I just got the chicken. So, yeah. If somebody is stepping on your boundaries, you sit them down. Yeah, it does sound like a broken heart. You sit them down and you say, listen, you guys have, you've been hurtful to me, and because of that, I need to back up. And let me tell you what it's going to look like. What it's going to look like is I'm going to move to the bedroom down the hallway, and I'm going to be sleeping in the bedroom, for the next month. And we're not going to be having intimacy for a month. And I'm doing this not to punish you. I'm doing this to step back to protect my feelings, because I need for you to own your issues, to make amends, to show remorse, to not be defensive, to create a safer environment for me in which to interact with you with. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, so that's my answer to Anne. What's wrong with the bedroom down the hall? Sometimes the bedroom down the hall is where you belong. You know, if they've stepped back from you, you need to step back from them. Okay, so now the next one, I have a really long question. It's a two-parter. I'm gonna get me a cough drop before I even attempt it. And I don't have root beer. I got diet cream soda going on tonight. He snores. That's why you're down the hall. Hey, Jilligan. I've missed you guys the last couple of weeks, is the truth. So it's good to be back. Phil, if I just vanish, Emotional Detective likes cream sodas. Hey, Emotional Detective, how are you? If I vanish, it's because my battery ran out and I don't have a cord around. I don't have anybody to get me a cord. So let's hope I have enough juice. Okay, so this is from Matthew, and it's a long story. Diet pop is full of garbage. Yes, Mommy. My daughters tell me that. Emotional Detective says she's awesome. So, dear Mark, just last week I found your videos and have been able to put pieces together about why I've always felt things were off. So I'm going to try to, hi Holly, I'm going to try not to do the squirrel thing when I'm reading and then I see you guys and I go off on a tangent. I'm going to ignore y'all for a little bit. Don't feel abandoned. Don't have your abandonment issues tickled. I'm just going to try to really answer these questions and give Matthew some good feedback. So I found your videos and I put pieces together about why I've always felt like things were off. I didn't always have that feeling. Being the middle of 3 kids, I thought most of my issues came from being a middle child. But I see things go much deeper than that now. We've all rotated through the different roles of golden child and scapegoat. It's nice when you got siblings where you can rotate the roles. You know, start out as a golden child and then maybe become a lost child and then graduate to the scapegoat. That's flexibility in a family. A lot of families, once you got your role, you got your role. And there isn't a lot of flexibility or change. I was warm, I took my socks off. Now I'm comfortable. I tell you guys way too many things. So, both of my brother and my sister, thanks Vanessa, I'm doing what I said I wouldn't do. My brother and sister have had legal problems and they have authority issues. The same issues my brother's son is now showing. I have also had legal trouble, but bothering compared to those now. I know I shouldn't compare myself to them, but it's something that I haven't been able to get away from yet. I don't know about you guys, but I've been able to, Mark is stripping, just the socks, Jackie, just the socks. I've been able to never really compare myself much with my siblings. Whenever they have a success, I'm really genuinely happy for them, and I don't really consciously compete with them. I want them to be happy. I want them to be blessed. So I'm trying to avoid the squirrel thing, Jackie. Um, I moved out of the family home 5 years ago while in, hey Tanya, while in the golden child role, and have been able to stay there until the past 6 months or so, when I began to bring up things that I've seen that didn't sit right with me. You can be a golden child, but when you start to tell the truth, you might shift your place in the family system. That's when the tables turned and my parents started pulling away and the flying monkeys started to circle. The shirt's not coming off. Rise and shine. Y'all don't want to see me with my shirt off. I've got a lot of tattoos and a lot of fat, so y'all don't want to see any of that. Before all that started, I've been going on issues that I've been able to trace back to the classic signs of narcissistic abuse. My girlfriend had started trying to figure out these issues and started really talking about my past, which I was afraid to share. I'm now 35. If that's okay. I'm trying to lose a few. I'm now 35, but when I was 15, I was placed into a mental facility for homicidal tendencies. And I spent less than 2 weeks there and was supposed to be going to a psychiatrist to continue my care. I only remember going to see him a handful of times when I said I no longer wanted to go. And they let me stop. I was also prescribed Paxil, which I had stopped after I stopped seeing the psychiatrist. Asking about this and what happened, my mother could only talk about how scared she was when my dad gave me a very quick synopsis saying the psychiatrist cleared me for a month or so of going. When we mentioned the looking into the records, my parents got very defensive, told us that they wouldn't even exist. The records wouldn't exist anymore. Recently, I've been dodging through my brain and not only having memories of emotional abuse, but also seeing physical violence and also being threatened with physical violence. Yes, Tanya, I'm reading a letter from somebody, sort of a long one, so that's where I'm at. I also only have a piece of a memory of my father reaching for me as I was cowering in the back of a bunk bed, and he was trying to get a hold of me. I know this is a rambling mess, but my whole brain seems to be a rambling mess. Do y'all relate to that? As you're thawing out, as you're having memories, as you're dealing with your family of origin issues, your whole brain becomes a rambling mess. I certainly have experienced that. I still do. I guess what I'm really trying to say is thank you for your work, for doing and for releasing it on YouTube. So I've been able to figure out this a bit. Also, I'm wondering how I can regain that memory so I know what happened to me. And third, I am trying to find out who I am. You know, who am I? High beating abuse. If I've been turned into what Dad wanted me to be like, then who am I really? Who was that child that was born to the monsters before they ruined me? How can I love myself if I don't know who I am? And if I truly am this narcissistic asshole, yes, I did pick up traits, and it's hurt my girlfriend over the past 5 years. How do I love myself if I'm that guy? If you could suggest some books to start with, me for my abuse and for my emotional neglect issues, and for her, someone that has been effective but still loves me and wants to help me recover from this hell. Once again, thank you for the work that you do. So that's the first letter from Matthew. There's a shorter one here that I'm gonna get to in just a little bit. So I was doing a men's group. We have a men's group, fellas. If anybody wants to participate in the men's group, it's all Skype. It's only been all Skype for 2 meetings, and it was powerful, Annie. It's a little bit of a mess when you got 6 or 7 guys signing in to Skype at the same time. It's a little messy, but then it settles down and the technology really works. And one of the guys who is sort of a leader in the group, he challenged a newer member of the group who's going through a divorce and went through being cheated on and also lost a job. And he said, hey, who are you? You got to ask the question, who am I? And that's a real significant question, I think, for all of us, because we go through so much life jolting, startlingly painful trauma. Do you realize the stuff that we go through, most people don't go through as much pain in a lifetime as we go through one episode with a narcissist? It's hard to sort yourself out and to figure yourself out after you've been narcissistically abused. What I've been learning is it's hard to sort yourself out and figure yourself out. Okay, Jackie has a question. Okay, I'll get to that. Let me write that down. Help family. I don't have a spotter tonight, so I'll get to that. So I found that when you add 2 rounds of vicious narcissistic abuse to moving, you really have to sit with yourself. You really have to know yourself. I have this picture that's in my bathroom, and I wish I could show it to you, but it's on the phone, and the phone is my way I'm communicating with you, so I can't. I got this picture at Onsite, and at the top, let's see if I can remember, it says, be brilliant, be colorful, be fierce, be exceptional. So those are some wonderful things to be: brilliant and colorful and exceptional and fierce. Love bombing. I can say something about love bombing. Thank you. But in that picture, it also says, be true to who you are. And it also says, be still. So if you want to be fierce, and you want to be exceptional, and you want to be colorful, and you want to be brilliant, then you gotta find out who you are. You gotta have a meeting with who you are, and to do that, you gotta be still. My youngest daughter just went off to graduate school in social work like her old dad, and I'm not going to say where she is, but she's in a great school, an excellent school, far away from here. And we patched my son in via FaceTime, and I said, older brother, do you have any advice for baby sister as she goes off and goes to a new town, a new state, a new school, a new life? And my son, who's going to turn 27 next month, he said something really profound. He said, just go and do yourself, be yourself. And that's a great advice. You don't adapt yourself to the world around you. You don't try to become popular. You don't try to not get hurt. You be true to who you are. And out of being who you are and true to who you are, flow lots of good stuff. That's when you can be colorful. That's when you can be creative. That's when you can be unique. So I loved the feedback my son gave. Okay, we're going to put Matthew's questions on hold. I do have another guest. This is my little tiger. Have you guys seen my little tiger before? When I was at On-Site 2 years ago, I was in their treatment facility, High Tawana, and we were doing sand tray therapies. Anybody done any sand tray therapy? It's pretty cool. And I saw this tiger, and the tiger represented what the writer about waking the tiger, Peter Levine. He doesn't squeak. This is a silent tiger. He says trauma is like there's a tiger in the room, and I would pace the room like a tiger. When I was in group therapy, I'd be in the back of the room just sort of pacing. Hey, Anita. This is not the tiger from a Cracker Jack box. So I was so attached to the tiger that I swiped it from the game, from the sand tray. And when you're in a treatment center, you don't have keys, and you don't have a wallet, and you don't have a cell phone. And I would you were kidding. I would carry my little tiger around. And it's not from a Happy Meal. It could be from a Happy Meal, actually. So when I travel, when I came from South Carolina, I'd normally keep this right by my television screen, but I brought it with me. Mark is a thief. I did swipe that. I was just so attached to it. It was so a reflection of my issues, because it not only represents tiger, it represents courage, and it represents strength. I do have a scary tiger tattooed on my chest, but as we said earlier, I'm not going to take my shirt off, so you guys are never going to see that one. Okay, so Jackie, you ask, no, I don't get Happy Meals, not because I don't want to be happy, but because I am a big guy and a Happy Meal wouldn't fill me up. So I just steal my tigers from treatment centers. So Jackie asked, how do you... Okay, so Michelle made a comment about big babies. I'll come back to that. I'm my own spotter tonight. Thank you, Michelle. I've got 20% power, so I don't know how long that's going to last. We'll go until I run out of juice. So Jackie said, if you have a family member and you want to help them and they're in denial, how do you help them? Well, it depends on what kind of family you come from, because the family I come from, they're all arrogant and strong-willed, and they know everything. So they can't be helped, Jackie. So the best thing that we can do as detached, interdependent, healthy people in recovery is just be authentic and don't try to help anybody. When you try to rescue somebody, it's a form of reactivity, and it sort of increases the emotional reactivity in the family system. Just be authentic. Hi, Rise and Shine. Thank you for your comments about the abandonment issues. Just be authentic and tell people the truth, and don't put a whole bunch of sugar on it. Don't be mean. Anita is a room pacer, like my tiger. This is Anita going back and forth in the room. All right. So, Jackie, I would give up your desire to save and help family members. But the truth is, when we're authentic, when we're really real, and we tell the truth without trying to help people, we end up helping a lot of people. So that's all I have to say about that. Michelle, no, somebody else asked about love bombing. So love bombing is you start dating somebody, or you get a new employee, or you make a new friend, and they just plaster you with compliments. They think you're the greatest thing in the world since sliced bread was invented. They think you're attractive, they think you're intelligent, they think you're wonderful. And if you're not meeting your own emotional needs, you know what happens is you become susceptible. You become vulnerable to being harmed by that person's over-idealization. And a real stone cold sociopathic narcissist, they know what they're doing. I think maybe a lesser narcissist just instinctively starts love bombing you. They don't do it strategically, but that's love bombing. Is, you know, if something's too good to be true, cult leaders do it exactly. If something feels too good to be true, if all your life people they told you you were a 7 looks wise or sexy wise, and all of a sudden somebody comes along and says you're a 10.5, well, that's too good to be true. You know, if everybody told you you were a 7, be happy being a 7, but don't drink the Kool-Aid of that person telling you you're a 10, because they're playing you. They got an agenda. So that's love bombing. So Michelle was talking about how when we're in recovery, in a way, we're sort of like big babies. So Gilligan's talking about love bombing. And that's why I brought my tiger, and that's why I brought this wonderful chicken that you guys love so much. Not because I want to be silly, and not because I want to make light of the very serious can you put that question through about being perfect? I didn't get it, and I might be able to address that question, but if you could put it through, because I don't have a spotter, and I saw something about being perfect. So, Newfoundland, that's pretty cool, Tanya. So, so big babies. We're vulnerable, are wounded. Our wounded inner child comes up. When I would cry, my voice would change, and I'd go from being like a 55-year-old, 56, 57, 58-year-old, and my voice would literally change, and it would sound like a very, very young child. Does that mean that I had multiple personality disorder? No. It just means the core of me was that wounded little kid, and we deep we deep people who have a strong recovery. If you guys have a question for me, make it really short, because I don't have enough time to read long questions. So if you have a question, make it really short, and I'll grab hold of it and I'll be able to address it. But yeah, Michelle, I'm like you. I become an infant when I really cry. And does that mean I'm a weak man? That means I'm a strong man. That means I have depth that few men do. So, but with the wounded little kid that comes up, there's a playfulness, there's a joy. I find comfort when I travel to bring my little tiger, because my wounded little kid is really attached to this. If I lost my little tiger, I'd grieve like I lost $1,000. That's the kind of bond. I have lots of rocks. I have lots of little shiny things that comfort me when I'm sitting at my desk and working with people from across the world. So I'm out of questions. There was a question I missed, so I'm going to go back to Matthew. This one isn't nearly as long, and he was responding to me, responding to him, and he says, thanks for responding. It means so much to be listened to. And thank you for the book suggestions. I'll be placing my orders very shortly. Also, it would be wonderful if you would address my questions and my feelings. So that's what I'm trying to do here. You know what? I think I could add a charger to this if I run out of juice. Okay, how do you heal your inner child? I will answer that. I've got a tiny little charger. It might get us toxic friendships. Y'all are bringing it now. Okay, I've got two things talked about after Matthew. Okay, so so Matthew says, I'll be placing my order for the books soon. Also, it would be wonderful if you would address my questions and my feelings. I broke down in tears reading your response and your offer to address the letter on the live stream show. Tears of joyful feelings. It feels like somebody really cares. As a songwriter, I've been able to process through emotions of lesser things than this, and creating and sharing my feelings with whoever happens to be at the bar when I'm, playing my music, but this stuff is so much deeper. Every time I pick up my notebook and pen, it just turns into a rambling mess, like the email I sent you, and like how this is turning into. It's just so hard. Lizard, what's up? To process something as damaging as my childhood has been. Once again, thank you for everything you're doing from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate your offering to help me directly. So, more thoughts from Matthew. You know what? When we're freshly wounded, there's a sweetness, there's an innocence that is a beautiful thing. When somebody is touched and they cry, and when you show them a little care and it brings up tears of joy, that's special, and it's a beautiful thing, and I love it. Okay, so a little more diet cream soda going on here. Okay, someone asked, I didn't see, how do you heal your inner child? Tanya says she cries at the drop of the hat. So do I. So how do you heal your inner child? Slowly. Generally, here's an answer that you're not going to like. We're issued psychological defense mechanism that it's not a good time to heal your inner child when you are a child. The best time to heal your inner child is actually from about the age of 40 to 50, 35 to 55, right in there. That's the time that people take care of their psychological business. But we're given really effective psychological defense mechanisms to survive your childhood. And then during your 20s, Mother Nature wants you to be deaf, dumb, blind, and stupid, which most of us are. And Mother Nature wants us to fall in love, get married, and have babies, which most of us have done. So when you're a kid, when you're a teen, when you're in your 20s, it's really not time to heal your inner child for most of us. When it really starts is when your marriage blows up right around mid-30s, on up to mid-50s, on up even further than that. Emotional detective feels like she's only 24. That's pretty young. I gotta tell you, I feel a little bit older than that. So what happens is, if you grow up in a dysfunctional family, you're going to be wounded, and then you got really good walls, and you're probably not going to feel a whole ton of pain in your 20s. But you're going to instinctively marry somebody who's so wrong for you that they're right for you, and they're dangerous people. You're going to pick somebody who's dangerous, and you're not going to know who they are. You think they're kind and loving and good, but you find out later that perhaps they were a monster, and they were mean and harsh and nasty and cold and vicious. And then you get ripped up, you get shattered. And then if you're blessed and you understand recovery, you understand it's not about the narcissist. It's not about all the evil things that they do. You know what it's about? It's about healing the wounds of your childhood, because however you were loved as a child, that's who you're going to pick to love you as an adult. And then you have an opportunity to be grateful. You have an opportunity to be proactive. And so how do you heal your inner child? Well, you fall in love, get married, and have it blow up in your face. Or you fall in love, get married, and just run out of gas. And then you have an opportunity to cry some tears and sit in front of a therapist and gain an understanding about how similar your family of origin issues, how similar that is to the person you married. And then you shift the focus away from blaming and shaming your spouse, and you focus on healing your inner child. Okay, I'm gonna go get that that charger cord and hope it has some juice in it. So Vanessa's ready to spend the rest of her. I'll be right back. I'd leave the chicken in the chair, but I don't think he's tall enough. But let me go get that charger. I'm back. I don't know how much juice this has left in it. I'm sorry if I took the chicken with me. I'm sorry if I phase out here in a bit, and if I run out of juice, but that's all the juice I got. It looks like it's dead. Darn it all. Okay. Hey, Diana. Welcome. So I don't know how much time we have left, but healing your inner child is slow. You cry, you cry, you cry. There's more waves of crying. Okay, somebody asked a question about abandonment issues. What's worse? Leaving at 16 or 6? I'll get to that. I'm down to 10%. Huh. Oh. Well, I was leaning into. Hey, there's Renda. Is that Renda? Hi, Renda. Hi, honey. There's my wife. I wish you could plug in. You know what I'll do? If I run out of. Happened was this thing right here controls the music. So now we're going to have music in the background. Sorry about that. It's good music. It is cool music. So we're like jamming with the chicken is what we're doing tonight. So I can't turn that off. I think what will happen is we'll run out of juice and I'll reboot and I'll come back. How about that? This is not a timeout. I just can't control it. I think if I go off to turn it off, that I'll lose you guys. So the jammin' chicken. Can you guys still hear me okay? This is a new portion of the show. This is called the music portion of the show. You want me to dance? I can chair dance a little bit, you know, but I can't really move in the chair. So, okay. So, somebody asked a question. We can hear. All right, good. Actually, when I set the chicken on the keyboard, the chicken was the one. The chicken was the one that turned the music on. It wasn't me. So Michelle's dancing. Yeah, this reminds me of the falling picture night. I miss you, honey. I'm not going to dance in the chair too much. We're covering issues here. So, someone asked, what's worse, being abandoned by a parent when you're 16, or being, I miss you too, honey, or being abandoned by a parent when you're 6? Kelly, the music is playing because it accidentally got turned on by the Bluetooth of this little keypad, and I don't know how to turn it off without leaving the live stream. So, sorry about that. I will just turn it down, but that's what we got. So my answer is, I believe it's much worse to be abandoned when you're 6 than when you're 16. Well, the chicken turned it on when I set it down. He didn't mean to, I didn't mean to. It is sort of disco, isn't it? So I hope this is making you laugh. A 6-year-old needs their parent so much worse than a 16-year-old. A 16-year-old developmentally, they're she's laughing so much she's peeing. Okay, thanks for sharing, Kelly. Mark is not. I'm not losing it. I'm still answering the questions. So, a 16-year-old is ready to spread their wings and fly. Not like this chicken who doesn't really have wings, it can't really fly, but I'm sorry it's messing with your mind to having the music. Is the music loud? I'm trying to turn it down. Is it really super loud? You know, I could try to go away and come back, but I'm afraid. How loud is the music? You guys tell me. Is it really loud? Very loud. Okay, I'm gonna try to leave and come back. All right. Put a pillow over it. Everybody dance now. All right, I'm gonna come back. Okay, so the music stopped, and I appear to be back. Am I back? We're having funky chicken night. Okay, so we stopped the music. I think it maybe was the Charlie's Angels theme or something similar. Okay, so that's better. Okay, good. I don't have a spotter. All I got is a chicken. The chicken turned the music on. What could I do? So, toxic friendships. Somebody brought up toxic friendship. Well, it's really not that much different than anything else. Put the chicken down. I'm gonna put the chicken down. I'm using it to talk. Put the chicken down. Toxic friendships are really no different from toxic romantic relationships. They're draining. They suck you dry. They tell lies. They misrepresent who they are. They made snide remarks. They're shaming. They're mean. They rage. They talk about you. They have flying monkeys. So, I think Mr. Pauly would enjoy ripping into this chicken, to be honest. As he's back home and I'm in Indianapolis, so yeah, home. Pauly's home with his mommy. I sure do miss you, honey. Love you. So, toxic friends, If you grow up with toxic parents and you marry toxic spouses, then you're probably going to attract toxic friends as well, because you're reenacting your family of origin. I've been really blessed to have safe friends and nurturing friends and caring friends and family. But going no contact with a toxic friend would be a good policy. It comes down to you love yourself too much to be treated poorly, whether it's a romantic partner or whether it's, a friend. A toxic person really isn't your friend. They don't know how to truly be your friend. So I'm out of questions, so I need more questions. Make them small questions. So I'm going to be here in Indianapolis for the next 9 days. Just getting the house sold. We're going to find another abode for us here in Indianapolis, and really investing some time and some energy into my daughter. Brenda will be getting on an airplane, and she will be coming to Indianapolis, and she will be on the live stream next Tuesday night, and I'm looking forward to it. And we'll have somebody to plug in power and turn off. Okay. What's the best way to communicate with a judgmental mother? And then I lost it. Send that over again. Best way to communicate with a judgmental Catholic mother. I do have a portable charger. Here it is. It's plugged in, but it's out of juice. So we don't know how long it's going to last. We have 10 more minutes until the show's supposed to end, but we started late. So we don't know how much time we have left. And the mother uses religion to manipulate. It's interesting. I was working with we had a dance break. I was working with a woman who she understands that religion can be an addiction. And my number one addiction from age 17 until age 31 was fundamentalist Christianity. And there's nothing wrong with being a Christian, but my experience, if you're dealing with a judgmental religious person, again, don't argue with them. It's like banging your head up against a wall. They're not listening. They're not there to get to know you. They're not there to have discourse. They're there to shove their religion down your throat because it helped them. It helped them, and it gets them high, or it numbs their pain. So they want to share it with you, but they don't know how to do it in a loving way. Somebody's sharing about having an instant connection. How do you deal with people who diss your pet? Well, Kelly, nobody's ever dissed Mr. Pauly in the history of his life because he's so friggin' awesome and handsome. I've never experienced that. Yeah, some Christians, the point is love, and they have truth. In Corinthians it says to have truth without love You're just noise. You're just a cymbal that's clanging. You cease to be relevant. So small little tidbit questions that I can see without my spotter these last few minutes. I just want to say I appreciate you guys for the community that you have participated in. Hi, Holly. It's just, I love that we're able to support each other. Faith without works is dead. So if you have faith, the fruit of the Spirit is love. So what else you guys got? I'll turn on your music again if you don't give me a little more to work with. Somebody's moving. Jackie says that Renda and I have seemed calmer. Well, that's probably true. We were, Mark, how are you? I'm tired tonight. I miss my wife. Ready to go home and have some dinner. But I do think that Renda and I have been calmer because sometimes you just need to walk away from a fight. Sometimes you need to walk away from a battle with a narcissist and just go live your life and never look back and don't think about them and ignore them. Hi, Star. She says, hello, Mrs. Karen. We don't do live streams every day of the week. We just do them on Tuesday. It's supposed to start at 8 o'clock. Tonight we started about 20 after 8 because I needed to tape my cell phone to Karen's iPad holder, and I went a little long with my last couple that I was working with. It's bike night. Where is it bike night, Jackie? I got to tell you guys a story. In our new neighborhood, it's a lot of older people. Hello, Carrie. Okay, somebody wants to know the underlying pathology of religious addiction. I can handle that. So my neighbor is probably 10 years older than me, and he's got tattoos all over his arms, and he has a Road King Harley, and he doesn't wear a helmet. And I have a Road King Harley, and I've got tattoos. I don't have nearly as many as he does, but I was pulling out one day, and I was just going to pull, and I didn't have my helmet. I normally wear a helmet. But this neighbor of mine, he just looking at me like he has a bromance crush. Not a sexual thing, but just he just looks at me like, you're my brother. We have tattoos. We live in this resort neighborhood, and my brother has a Harley motorcycle, and he just beams at me like I'm, Steve McQueen or some really cool old dude. So somebody wanted to know what's the underlying pathology for religious addiction. And just like sexual addiction, a porn addiction, yeah, my neighbor is a brother from another mother. That's right. Everybody, the underlying thing could be different. So let me share my experience. My experience was I grew up with a shaming, critical, raging mother, and it helped me to believe in a God, frankly, who was like my mother. I not only attract, before my lovely Renda, I not only have attracted women who were critical and harsh and raging and controlling. Not my first wife. She was a very good, codependent, wonderful person. But for me, something snapped, and I had so much shame. I had just wrecked my father's second new car. He had 2 new cars his whole life. I wrecked them both by the time I was 17. And if he'd have cussed me, I'd have been okay, but he started crying. And something snapped in me. And then I created a God in my mother's own image. So the underlying issues for religious addiction for me were 2 things. One was shame, and the other was need for control. I had all the answers. I knew everything. As a 17-year-old, I had the Bible, and I had this musician named Keith Green. I don't know if anybody knows who's Keith. He was the #1 Christian musician back in the day, back in about late 1970s, early 1980s. So that's what it was for me. It helped. The world made sense. It helped me feel in control. And it probably, between basketball and Jesus, that probably saved my life from 17 to 31. And then I got in recovery. I got in recovery because I was in graduate school at Michigan State University in social work, and I got hired at the National Council on Alcoholism, and they handed us a book called Another Chance. And the book was about what we were talking about earlier with Matthew, and that is family roles: the family hero, the lost child, the scapegoat, the mascot. And I read that book by Sharon Wegschieder-Cruse, who was the founder of Onsite. And not this last time, but the previous time I went to Onsite, I got to meet Sharon Wegschieder-Cruse, who wrote the book Another Chance, about family roles from alcoholic families, but it's also dysfunctional families, and that's how I got in recovery. So that's a very special book. If you guys haven't read Another Chance by Sharon Wegschieder-Cruse, I highly recommend it. What's all the question marks about, Jackie? Oh, Sharon Wegschieder-Cruse. I met her live. I was at Onsite, and she was there, and she's probably well into her 70s. And I went up to her, and I was crying, and I told her that that's how I got in recovery, by reading her book, and that it really changed my life. And she gave me a little autograph on a bookmark that I still have, and she gave me a big hug. Wonderful person, wonderful book. So what else you guys got? If there's no other questions, I'm going to start pacing the room, and I'm going to get the chicken out, and I'm going to turn the music on, and I'm going to drink my diet cream soda. So what else you guys got? Anything else? You really, when you're traumatized physiologically, there's so much tension pent up, you do tend to pace a lot. Carrie wants to talk about how to have closure. Well, if you're talking about closure with your narcissistic abuser, it ain't gonna happen. They don't care about you. They don't care about closure. Closure comes from within. Closure comes from doing your own work. Closure comes from healing the wounded child inside of you. Closure comes from forgiving them. Closure comes from owning the fact that you weren't victimized by them. So closure took me probably 2 years to achieve. Hey there, I'm back. So sorry, everybody, looks like everybody left. Didn't really get a chance to get much in the way of closure. I did run out of juice, but weird show tonight. Dance music, crazy funky chicken, pacing tiger, Mark all by himself. But you know, I'm glad we can have a little fun. I'm glad Renda got to join us from home and add her energy to the experience. I don't know, someone said something about narc abuse when they were on the chat. Carry zumbas sometimes. So thanks for watching, everybody. Renda and I and Karen and Andy and everybody here at Family Tree, Jen, we care about you and love you guys, and have a wonderful week, and we will see you next Tuesday night right around 8 o'clock. We won't have music going on. We won't have a chicken. We won't have a pacing tiger or dance music, but we will have Renda, and we will get down to business of helping everybody get healthy and do the work on their family of origin issues. So thank you for watching. I'm going to go home and have some dinner and crawl in the hot tub. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful week. Sending you blessing and love. Bye-bye.